Hi, Tommy. Thanks for joining in. We'll be starting in just a couple minutes here.
Here you go. You need this.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
I'll just put my uke on the ground.
I brought your stand over. It's over here.
Yeah, what about your base?
I can put that on the ground next to me. Yeah.
Ooh, there's a big yellow butterfly. He just went into that tree. Man, there's tons of little white butterflies everywhere.
It's
Yeah, I don't know if they're just digging their trees or what is going on. Do you see them all over?
yeah. Lots of cute little butterflies here today.
Yeah, good thing Bootsy's not out here. Sir Boots, the eater of bugs. Do you think we're close enough for the sound?
What? Maybe we'll move forward. I gotcha.
It's really hot.
Always have water to put it out cold.
Smart. Okay. Move that over here. And we're ready.
Hi, friends.
Hello. Oh, you can't see John anymore. I blocked him. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of
The Ham Family Smile Time Variety Hour.
That's right. I'm here with the one and only John Ham.
That's me, and with me, as always, is my beautiful wife, Katie Ham.
Yeah.
And we are happy to be back here at home, fresh off of a lovely camping trip that we did the last few days on the other side of the state. And yeah.
And you might not be able to see John super well right now, but John does not do very good in the sun, and it is very hot and sunny out today here in Denver, so he's hiding in the shade. So you might hear him, but you might not be able to see him too well. Well, today we thought we would do a show about camping because we were so inspired about the fun time we had. Did you just say that? Was I not listening?
I don't know, a little bit.
And one of the things we had to do is put up our tent to clean it out after our trip. We need to sweep it and make sure it's all good for our next time. And we thought, well, great, when we get our tent up, we'll put it up so all of our friends can see too.
Yep.
And we've got a couple other tent and camping things to show you guys today.
Yeah, and we just had a blast. It was a nice little getaway, and like I said, I'm very grateful to live where we do, where we are able to get out and go camping. We went about 5 hours away from Denver to the western side of the state, and we were able to camp and have a nice big spot of land to ourselves with nobody around, so we could safely camp. But you know, even if you don't live in a state like this where you can go camping in the wilderness, if you have a tent and you have a backyard, you can even just set up your tent in the backyard and go camping for the day. You know, it's kind of fun, and just something a little different to get out of the house and mix things up a little bit.
So today we have a few camping songs for you, a couple activities to talk about, and a really quick story. John's going to take it away with our first song.
So yeah, where we went camping on the western slope of Colorado. It's a beautiful part of the state and very different from our side of the state where we live on. So it was just nice to see the different land that's all in our state. And so I picked out a song that's all about the land in our whole country. And this song is This Land Is Your Land, made famous by Woody Guthrie. And the chorus is going to keep coming back. It's going to start with the chorus, and then after each verse it'll do the chorus again. So it's this land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forests to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. So you'll start hearing that part over and over, and you can join in and sing along with that part. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking a ribbon of highway, I saw above me an endless skyway. I saw below me a golden valley. This land was made for you and me. Here's the chorus again. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I've roamed and rambled, and I've followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts, and all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. The sun comes shining as I was strolling, the wheat fields waving and the dust clouds rolling. The fog was lifting, a voice came chanting. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Ding.
Woo! Oh, my mom says that's some great knee slapping. Thanks, Mom. All right, guys. Ooh, I forgot.
Getting a nice cool drink
it is
there, Katie.
almost 90 degrees out here today, so we are warm. In Canadian, that's about 5 billion, so we've got that going.
Yeah, in Canada it was 21 the other day. That's hot.
Hey, buddy.
All right, the next song is...
Ooh, it's one that's special to you
very
and your
special
family.
one. So it's kind of a silly song, and it's about, not about camping, but more about going to a summer camp. And it's called Hello Mutta, Hello Fata by Alan Sherman. I think it might also be called Camp Granada.
I thought it was called
Camp Granada. But the thing that's really special about this guy that wrote and was famous for singing this song, Alan Sherman, my dad actually sang this song with him when he was touring and he went to Indiana University to put on a show. It was at their homecoming while my dad was in college. And my dad was a part of the Singing Hoosiers, which was one of their choral performing singing groups. And so my dad actually got to sing this song on stage with Alan Sherman. And like I said, it's also a pretty silly, funny song. So I'm really happy to be able to do this, and that it has that special connection to my dad. So here we go. Hello, mother. Hello, father. Here I am at Camp Granada. Camp is very entertaining, and they say we'll have some fun if it stops raining. I went hiking with Joe Spivey. He developed poison ivy. You remember Leonard Skinner? He got ptomaine poisoning last night after dinner. All the counselors hate the waiters, and the lake has alligators. And the head coach wants no sissies, so he reads to us from something called Ulysses. Now I don't want, this should scare ya, but my bunkmate has malaria. You remember Jeffrey Hardy? They're about to organize a searching party. Take me home, oh mother, father, take me home. I hate Granada, don't leave me out in the forest where I might get eaten by a bear. Take me home, I promise I will not make noise or mess the house with other boys. Oh, please don't make me stay. I've been here one whole day.
Oh.
Dearest father, darling mother, how's my precious little brother? Let me come home if you miss me. I would even let Aunt Bertha hug and kiss me. Wait a minute, it stopped hailing. Guys are swimming, guys are sailing, playing baseball. Gee, that's better. Mother, father, kindly disregard this letter. I like that one. That was my first time performing that.
I think that one's funny because, you know, it shows how much the weather can make a difference in how much fun you're having at a camp. Well, we wanted to show off a couple pieces of a tent in case you've never gone camping before. And most tents have 3 important parts. That's what we're going to show right today. This will be pretty quick. But the 3 important parts are the rain cover. Ours attaches on with the Velcro and at the bottom, and even has some little spots that we can Velcro around to really keep it tight. And the rain part is a really, really, really important part of your tent, because if it rains and you don't have this, well, you're gonna get wet, and that's no fun. It also helps keep some shade in your tent when it's getting bright out. The next part that's important for your tent is the stakes. The stakes are what hold your tent into the ground. They're usually made of metal, but sometimes plastic. If you're staying somewhere where it's soft, you can just jam it in. A lot of places we camp in Colorado, we have to bring a hammer because the dirt's so hard.
And that's really important to have your tent staked down, especially if it's somewhere where it gets kind of windy, because you don't want your tent to blow away. So that keeps it securely in the ground.
And then the last part is the tent itself. We think we have a pretty great tent for us because it fits 4 people, and there's only 2 of us. But that means we have room for us and some extra things, or if we want to sit around and play cards in our tent if it's raining.
And I have room to bring a guitar or a hand drum or a
We can
cooler
put the
full of
guitar in
drinks.
here.
We can fit everything in there.
We can zip it up, but we can also have a window to see out. Hi, everybody. All right.
Yep.
Well, that is our tent.
I really do like our tent, and we had so much fun camping. We were by a river out by Black Canyon of the Gunnison in western Colorado. It was really nice, and we spent a little time just sitting by the side of the river and just watching the birds flying by and just playing our ukuleles. And Katie played her ukulele, and then I brought mine, which is the ukulele bass, which has the body of a ukulele, but it has these big fat silicone strings that play way down low like a bass.
And mine's a regular ukulele.
And while we were hanging out, we kind of jammed together on the ukulele and the uke bass, and it was really fun. It was our first time trying to do that, and first Katie would show me all the chords she knows, and then I would call out some chord changes, and we started playing some songs just by me calling out the changes as we went. And I think we did, was it a C and an F?
It
Were
was
those the two?
C and F, and
Yep.
then D and G when we did the little side part.
Okay, so can you start doing your C, F? And it was kind of like C, F, C. Without a warning, you broke my heart. Taking it, baby, torn it apart. You left me standing in the dark crying. Say your love for me was dying. So come on, baby, baby, please. I'm begging you, baby, I'm on my knees. Turn on your light, let it shine on me. Turn on your love light, let it shine on me. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I'm feeling so bad. Asked my family doctor about what I had. I said, now doctor, Mr. MD, can you tell me what's ailing me? He said, yeah. All you need a D. All you need, all you...
Oh, wait.
F.
Was it F? Okay.
There. Oh wait, G, sorry.
G.
Really need, back to the C, good loving, good loving, good loving, good loving.
All right.
Yeah, so we had
So that
fun
was just
doing
a
that.
little mini song. I need to tune this ukulele very badly.
Yeah, it's okay.
So that was just us showing off a little bit of how you can kind of play together. If you're learning with a friend or just trying it out, what we did was he called out some parts that he knew I knew, and then I could just play those and concentrate. So that's another way you can kind of practice when you're learning an instrument. If you have someone that's a little bit better than you, or a lot better than you in my case, they can kind of take the lead and help call out so you can learn along.
Yeah, and that was really our first time jamming together. We've
Yeah.
done some songs together, but that was the first time we kind of improvised and just called out chords as we were going and just had some fun with it. That was really neat. So, now, another thing we did while we were out there was we had a campfire each night because
Ooh.
it's allowed. There's not a fire ban.
Yeah.
A lot of places in our state, it's very dry, and sometimes you're not allowed to have a campfire.
Yeah.
Luckily, the place we went, we were allowed to have a campfire, so we would sit around the fire in the evening.
Well, while you light or sing this fire song, I'll light a fire, and then I'll talk about some fire safety when you're done.
All right.
I'm just gonna pretend light a fire, guys.
burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by a wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 that ring of fire, that ring of fire.
Oh yeah, these are my favorite.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burned, 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 that ring of fire, that ring of fire. The taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet.
That's sweet.
I fell for you like a child. Oh, but the fire went wild. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burned, burned, burns, that ring of fire, that ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire.
Don't fall
Went
in.
down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 that ring of fire, that ring of fire. And it burns, 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 that ring of fire, that ring of fire.
That was fun because I got to pretend to roast a marshmallow, and since I got to pretend to roast a marshmallow, that means I got to for reals eat a marshmallow. And marshmallows are one of my favorite treats. It's one of my favorite things about having a campfire is having a marshmallow. And ever since I was a little kid, I've loved marshmallows, and I always think about when I used to go to my grandma and grandpa's when I was little, and I would show up at the front door and I would say, "Can I have a marshmallow?" And my grandma would say, "Okay." And they always had a bag of marshmallows in their cupboard for me.
Adorable.
So I still love marshmallows even as a grown-up.
And I love that song, Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash.
Oh.
But the chorus is, I fell into a ring of fire.
So
You
dangerous!
don't want that to happen,
No.
so I think Katie has a couple fire safety tips.
We're
for
going to
us.
give just 3 tips today, although we can give lots of tips because fire is very dangerous. But 3 tips. First, you should have a grown-up always start the fire and be with you when there is a fire running, because fires can change very quickly and they're not the most safe thing to be around. So having a grown-up is really important because you can get hurt. That's number 1.
That's 1.
Number 2, always have a lot of water nearby when you have a fire going, even if it's just your backyard, because you never know if a flame might jump out with a spark and maybe get some grass on fire or a little blanket on fire. Fires can spread quick, so you need water. But also, when you're done with the fire at the end of the night, you can't just leave it. You have to clean it up. So you need to dump all that water, stir your fire and coals, make sure there's nothing left burning. So that's number 2. Always have water to put out your fire. And the last is number 3. This one my mom taught me. If you're sitting at a campfire with lots of friends and you have chairs, well, it might make sense to go in between the chair and the fire, stay nice and warm. But you know what? That means there's a lot of space for you to trip, and you might fall on the fire. That actually happened to a friend of mine once. So, what you need to do is go out of the chair and walk around the outside of the circle. Then, if you do trip and fall, at least you just fall on some hard dirt and not the fire.
Yep.
So always walk around the outside, then
That's a tip from
safely
your mom.
sit down. That's tip from my mom.
And you know what, Katie? I had replied to Tommy, who was the first person to tune in today, And then I didn't realize that I didn't click back, so a whole bunch of people
Hi,
tuned
Mark.
in. Mark, Mitch.
Hi, Mitch. Oh, hey, it was just Mitch's birthday the other day.
Oh, happy birthday, Mitch. And Erica and
yeah.
her little baby.
It's 55
Tommy
in
says
Buffalo.
it's 55 in Buffalo. Jody and
Hi, Jody. Hi.
Zach and Alicia.
Hi, Alicia. Hi,
and
Zach.
Bees.
Hi, Bees.
And Dave, all tuned
Hi,
in.
Dave.
Thank you all for tuning in, friends.
Dave, we need to hit you up about you dropping off some of those cans for us. We just got busy and forgot to call you. Okay, well, fire safety's over.
And Katie has a book that's under her chair right now.
And this one, I'm going to go through very quickly today because I just want to talk about the last page. Animal Tracks is the book. And this is written by a person who also drew the pictures. And what's cool is he works as a scientist. So he really likes to find tracks and study them. So I'm going to read a little bit of the book and then skip to the end. When you go to the forest, the animals may be hiding. You can tell which animals are in the forest by looking at their tracks. Who made tracks in the soft mud by the stream? A raccoon who was looking for food. But who made those tracks by the water reeds? Oh, there were some little ducklings. A frog made these tracks while he hopped by. And a turtle who was laying in the sun made these tracks. He even made a line with his tail. A porcupine ate some tree bark until she was full, then walked away slowly. Porcupines don't move fast, but many people don't bother them. But do you see those big tracks? Well, that's a black bear. But he won't bother the porcupine. He's busy eating berries. He will rub and scratch on his favorite tree. He scratches to show that he's been there. It's called a sign. Who left another animal sign with teeth marks on that tree? Oh, it was a beaver. Then a dog runs along the trail followed by people. Each person leaves a different sized track too. There's small tracks and large tracks, made by small feet and large feet. Near a lake are tracks made in the sand by bare feet. Along the road there's muddy tire tracks. A car is going toward the city. Cities can be a good places to find animal tracks too. Listen carefully and look for animal signs. Snow, soft sand, mud, and dust are good places for animal tracks. You might even find animals that live in the cities, but they usually stay hidden, like raccoons or muskrats or opossums. Once people even found mountain lion tracks in a city park. You have to be a detective. Guess who made these tracks? Oh, it was a little kitty. So friends, this is the part I wanted to show you that was cool. If you do find some tracks, do you know that you can preserve them and study them? What you do is you find the track and you take either plaster of Paris or a special putty you can get from a store and you make it into a watery cement and you fill in the track. Then you let it dry and you pop it up and dust it off. And then you can have your own little, what looks like a fossil, but it's an animal track. If you want to learn more about how to do that, you can send us a message on our text or email or Facebook, and I'll send you a better picture of the page. And boys and girls, there's a reason I especially wanted to show you the bear tracks. Hey John, why did I want to show them the bear tracks? What did we see while we were camping?
We saw a bear.
That's right, we saw an actual bear while we were camping. And it's my first time I've seen a Coloradan bear. I've seen bears when I was little, when I lived in New York and Pennsylvania area. But this bear, we were camping, and we saw it from across the river that we were camping at. And we could see it, but it was hard to see. But luckily, John always brings his binoculars when we go camping. And the important thing about binoculars is you never walk while you have them up, because you can get hurt. But we stood still and we looked and we watched that bear for a while. He had big shaggy hair and shaggy elbows, and he sat and he ate a bush and some little berries, and we watched him rub against a tree, and then he walked away and went back home. And that was pretty exciting for us, though.
Yep.
And because of that,
and
we thought we would do a couple bear-type songs.
We'd do a couple bear songs, so this one I was getting warmed up on during Katie's story, so... Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, old Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the trees to make some honey just for me. When you look under the rocks and plants, take a glance at those fancy ants, then maybe try a few. The bare necessities of life will come to you. They'll come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, that's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. Now when you pick a pawpaw or a prickly pear, when you prick a raw paw, next time beware. Don't pick the prickly pear by the paw. When you pick a pear, try to use the claw, but you don't need to use the claw. When you pick a pear of the big pawpaw, have I given you a clue? The bare necessities of life will come to you. They'll come to you. This is the spoken word part. Try and relax. Yeah, cool. Fall apart in my backyard. Let me tell you something, little britches. If you act like that BX, you're working too hard. Don't spend your time looking around for something you want that can't be found. When you find you can't live without it, go along not thinking about it. I'll tell you something that's true. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, that's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. With just the bare necessities of life.
Our friend Little Tommy over there was loving that song. He knows Jungle Book, and he was very excited.
Nice. I like that
glad
one.
you're liking that. Erica's never seen a bear in the wild here. That was my first time. Pretty excited. So my next one I hope to see is a moose someday. I'm hoping. Well, bears can be scary, but, you know, there's a couple things you can do to be safe with bears. The first thing is make sure you clean up your camp area and you have your food wrapped up in bear-safe things. So there's special coolers you can get or special bags, but you can put them in there and clean up all of your garbage, because bears don't want to bother people. They're very afraid of people. They just want to eat your yummy,
They just want to get a snack,
They're
and
hungry.
then they want to go.
Like Yogi Bear.
So usually if you leave the bears
number
alone,
one.
they leave you alone. But yeah, you have to make sure your food is stored away safely. Where we went, we just put our food in these special Ziploc bags so the smell doesn't get out, so the bear doesn't even know that there's food there. Sometimes if you're going up in the mountains where there's a lot more bears, sometimes you have to even hang your food up in a tree so it's somewhere where a bear can't get to it. But it wasn't that crazy for us. We just, you know.
But then if you do see a bear, you don't want to go running, because they kind of will think it's a game and they want to chase. So what you do is, can you show them how to get real big?
So you get real big.
Real big.
Make
Like
your
a
body
bear.
look bigger. If you're wearing a coat, you open up your coat so it looks like you're really big.
And then you talk in a real deep voice.
You're talking a big voice
And you
and
yell,
let the bear know so it's
"No!"
not scared. and you walk backwards and back away from it. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm right by the edge of our garden.
We'll
but
trip and fall.
You back away and you keep your eyes on it.
So yeah, that
That's
can be
another
scary,
fair
but
safety.
we can do things to be safe. You can always look up some other tips on the interwebs.
Yep, and I have another Disney Bears song. You know, last Thursday, because we were camping, we didn't have a live show, but we pre-recorded our Disney sing-along, and we had so much fun doing that. If you didn't get a chance to watch that, make sure you look back and find it. I don't think I've put it in our playlist yet, but it's on there. If you look for Ham Family Smile Time Variety Hour Disney Sing-Along, it's on there. And I even typed up all the words and the chord changes to all the songs that we did. So if you want to be able to sing along at home, there's a link somewhere on here to be able to download that so you can have all the words. And if you play guitar or ukulele, you can have the chord changes so you can play along. But we had so much fun doing that. There were so many Disney songs we wanted to include. We didn't get to include them all, so we're going to have to do a couple more of those sing-alongs. But one of them, we just were running out of time and we skipped over. And it's it's the theme song from the Gummy Bears, which was a Disney TV show from when I was a kid. And
no, I'm with you, but I'm just losing attention.
It wasn't super famous, but I loved it, and I loved the theme song for it. Song. Jeez, get out of here. Dashing and daring, courageous and caring, faithful and friendly with stories to share. All through the forest they sing out in chorus, marching along as their song fills the air. Gummy bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventures that's beyond compare. They are the Gummy Bears. Magic and mystery are part of their history, along with the secret of gummy berry juice. The legend is growing, they take pride in knowing they fight for what's right in whatever they do. Gummy bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventures that's beyond compare. They are the Gummy Bears. Gummy bears,
Not just a candy.
bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventures that's beyond compare. They are the Gummy Bears. They are the Gummy Bears. They are the Gummy Bears.
Well, guys, we are so glad you all came and joined us again today. We'll be back here on Thursday. As John was saying, we're going to do some more pre-recorded shows. And as always, if you'd like to reach us, you can get a hold of us on Facebook or on email or by text on any of these methods. If you want to know how to make the plaster bear prints, send me a message. If you want us to send you a letter or a postcard, send us a message with your address. I've got stamps. We will send them. Don't make us send you artwork. I don't know. Okay. We love you guys. We will see you on Thursday. Bye, everyone.
Love you, friends. Thanks for tuning in.
Finish. End.